So I will try and follow up here with how this is going to play out for us this week before hopefully we do get all of that rain. So I kind of like to go back and take a look at what we had happen last week. So this is up in the arrowhead of northern Minnesota. We had the Crosby fire, which happened in this area right here. Ended up being 300 acres, kind of a remote area. Maple hardwood, leaves, so some spread on that. I like to go back and look at fires so I can see what kinds of indices are telling the story. This is October 8th, the day that it started. You can see that the FFMC, so the fine fuel moisture code with the Canadian system, is in the high potential category. We're up there in the higher 80s. There's a 90 over here. And then if we click through just in the days, you'll see that those conditions remain. Why that fire was burning for a few days, and then they finally started to get into it and get some containment on it. And then also the FFMCs started to go down. Once we start to get into these lower 80s, I mean, that still means that you can have some good spread, but it's moderated. So I've been kind of looking at these things. There was a similar pattern with the Michigan fire that I showed last week. So I think that the FFMC is just a good metric to watch. And so with that, I just kind of want to show you what Jim showed as, some moisture coming in to the Great Lakes. We'll see that those FFMCs have gone down quite a bit. We still have the moderate 80s in Wisconsin, and then this part of Michigan that has kind of been missing out. That's where higher potential is. If we just kind of go through the week, we can watch how this progresses. There's more of the rain coming in to the Great Lakes. We have some moderate potential up there in the UP. Still have it down there in the LP. Same with this day. Then really our northern tier of the Great Lakes pretty much is, gets that rain, forecasted rain. And then what we have with some moderate potential is down here in the southern tier. Still some in this area. The LP in Michigan just won't let go. So here's to Saturday. And then we finally start to get some moderation. They're down in the LP, but then we see that some of this starts popping back up over here. So this is just a way to kind of take a broad scale look at the Great Lakes and how the moisture coming through is going to affect things, especially for fires where the leaves are down and spread. Another index that's worth looking at, can get this to reset, is the buildup index. So if you start to see this is a combination of the drought code and the Duff moisture code. So there's still some pretty high drought codes in this region, especially down here in the LP. They just haven't been getting the precip like Jim said. So if we look at this Leota station, which is where that fire was that I talked about last week, and we go over to the graphs, then we can see that the BUI, like I talked about, has been bouncing back, but not as high. So there is some improvement in the conditions, but we can look down here at the drought code, the next chart down, and you see that is still kind of cruising up there and maintaining itself. So we haven't really seen any improvement in the drought code. But there has been some improvement in the Duff moisture code, which is feeding into that BUI. So this area is going to take some moisture before it really gets out of it. I mean, obviously moisture will help with any kind of surface fires and surface spread, but still some good concerns for if you get any fires that burn deeper. I mean, this area has still got some considerable drought. So for the rest of the eastern area, we'll jump over. I just want to kind of go through max temperatures. I think this is a good thing to just kind of show you where we have higher temperatures down here in the southern tier. You can see that our northern tier, even up in our drier areas up in New England, I mean, we're down in the 60s these for max temperatures, 50s, 40s, 50s across the Great Lakes. We can kind of watch how this stays true with that northern tier staying with even some like highs in the 40s up there. You see them down here. 80s down in the southern tier, kind of a band of 60s in the middle. We keep the 80s down there in Missouri, and a band of 70s, but still start to get some higher temperatures creep up in here, but this will be after having rainfall. And some more higher temperatures creeping up into this area, but hopefully after some good rainfall, still maintaining the 80s down there in Missouri. And then we start to cool off finally down here in the southern tier, and even some more cooling going on down there over the weekend, like when those storms are coming in. So that'll be down in the 60s with some 70s over here. So that just kind of gives you a snapshot of how temperatures are going to go. So starting down in Missouri, this is Camden. You can kind of see how it was high in September, and then some big rain, and then it's kind of been hanging out a little bit above average, but starting to go down. So even with those higher temperatures in Missouri, don't expect a whole lot of activity, or at least nothing significant. Over here, West Virginia, Kingwood, they've been above average. Then there was some big rains that came through and they rebounded right back up, but then their rebounds have been smaller. We'll see if this forecast actually rebounds that high or whether it ends up being down here. That'll be something to look for down in that West Virginia area to just see what kind of rebounding happens there with these storms coming through. Up here in Pennsylvania, the Allegheny, so Kenzua, the notable thing here, they've been having some significant duff burning, 6 to 7 inches down. I just wanted to show why the KBDI, even with the rain that has gone through, it's been rebounding and increasing. We're finally getting some decreases, but it's really slow to happen. So there's going to need to be a significant amount of rain in this area, just like in the LP of Michigan, to really get us out of that potential for deep burning when fires start. And then this is up in Vermont, kind of near northern New Hampshire too, where there's been quite a bit of drought. Nolhagen. This one you can see that the rebounding has kind of leveled off. I mean, we're getting a little bit of decrease in improvement. It'll be interesting to see what this is the forecast line, what this actually does. But this area still has quite a bit of potential as well. Not nearly like what it was back in August, but it's still just hanging in there kind of at a steady state. I'd expect, as however things have been burning and whatever has been going on to kind of continue to be within those same types of conditions. And then we'll go up north to Moosehorn. So this is kind of north central Maine out on the point. They've also had some improvement, but not a ton. So this is another area that hasn't been getting a lot of precip. You see that the rebounding may even get up higher, similar to how it was more towards the beginning of the month. So this is another area to just kind of watch and see if we really get any improvement or if we get any storms. This is pretty far out, but this drop right here would be the weekend, and this would be what Jim was saying with some storms kind of finally getting up into that area. So that will be the other thing to watch in that area. So still some concerns in the Northeast, Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, and the LP of Michigan. So hopefully the rain will come through and hit us pretty widespread next week. But that's kind of what I expect for this week. Any questions?